And we're live.
Hello now. Yeah, we're totally live. I've got with me here, I've got Jesus Alvarez, who you may have seen from the photos at the GG in Miami meetup. And we've also got Carl H.F. Hubert, who is not, hasn't got a mic or anything tonight, so he's just hanging out and giving moral support and verbal support to us in the side chat. We're going to be talking tonight about many, many things, some of which are going to centre on the troubles that have happened lately with Gamergate and how they've been resolved and how they've been resolved themselves. How you doing tonight, my buddy, Jesus?
I'm doing great. It's Friday in the U.S. East Coast, and
Yep.
that means I don't have work tomorrow. So
Oh,
it means I can drink liquor and play video games. So that's always a good thing, you know.
that is, yes.
This has been
Yeah.
an interesting week in GamerGate, and it seems like a lot of stuff to talk about. Pretty interesting stuff.
Yeah. An insane week in Gamergate. Um, we've seen a coup d'etat, almost. Um, we've seen a very unusual a, attempt at a coalition forming, a commission forming, that quickly decided we needed to surrender. Well, maybe not surrender. Maybe that's an overly harsh way of putting it. But we had to end Gamergate and we had to move on to different things. That's probably a more nuanced way of putting it. And I think, as ever, as to be expected, that created a lot of anger within Gamergate. A lot of people coming up and asking very pertinent and real questions about who they were listening to in terms of the message. Um, Even with people like Sargon um, and a few others who'd been approached with this question, cuckoo and stuff. And just seeing out one of the main ones there, but there we go. So all this stuff has happened, and in my own small rock pool of the Gamergate world, the kind of Facebook thing down in Gamergate and Not Your Shield on Facebook, where Paolo has been admin. Ah, yes, Paolo. Um, that's who I was missing. Things have been happening there, as I think you see. Um, Take over for me a little. Uh, I'm still trying to pass it all.
Yeah, no, 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 of course. Yeah, this is really this what's happened has really like opened eyes to a lot of people. A lot of things which I guess everyone really knew, but it was a dark secret, the hush secret no one really wanted to talk about was there is definitely some tribalism. People seeing things a certain way from other groups and trying to see who's the right way, who's the wrong way. It doesn't necessarily mean they hate the other side. I mean, not other side, just Gamergate in general. But
Yeah,
they just think have a completely different approach, and this has caused a lot of like disagreements. And people either they're questioning the people who they listen to, or they're just completely following them and not, you know, questioning things in the first place. And we've even seen this in the Facebook group, Not Your Shield. We're seeing a lot of people starting to speak out, based on different ideas and
yeah,
stuff. And there's a lot of turmoil there, actually. It's a lot of stuff. People are leaving.
yeah, yeah. It's been fucking
Balo
weird today.
retired from the group. So there's definitely stuff going on. There's stuff it's in the air tonight.
Oh, it certainly is. I should flick over to there now, actually, and go and have a look at, at Gamergate and Not Your Shield, because I had a big spat, or I didn't think I had until I realised I had, with some chap in Gamergate and Not Your Shield on Facebook. And it was this chap called Rex something or other. Just scrolling down to the post. He ended up leaving, um, stomping off in dismay. He'd seen a post by Joseph Guzman. Excuse me. I needed to burp there a little bit. I hope the viewers didn't notice. Sorry. But anyway, on the wall there, if you scroll down a little bit, there's a post by Joseph Guzman of comparing a photograph of Zoe Queen with her hand over her face, very much comparing it to some anime photo of some guy in green who looks like a twat. holding his hand over his face. Then there's John Cena holding his hand over his face, and then there's sort of a punished snake um, holding his hand. It's his sort of electronic robotic hand. Which I think the last picture most fits with the Zoe Quinn one because you can see quite clearly she's got her mechanical hand tattoo going on there, which is what she's really trying to show off. And I thought this post was totally fine as it just exposes the vanity of Zoe Quinn. But this chap appeared and really, really criticised it and was saying, oh, this just plays into the narrative of the other side and that kind of thing. This is absolutely, not the kind of stuff we want in there. He was really tone policing it, saying you shouldn't be posting stuff like this. Rhett Facer, that was his name.
Yeah.
He said things like, "Way to fit the narrative, guys. Good job. Let's make another post about Anita Sarkeesian and Brianna Wu while we're at it." And then the OP, the guy who posted the post, pops in and says, "It's just a joke post." And Rick comes back with, "Joke post? The joke stops being funny when you repeated spam this shit stain. Go back to Paul or anti-SJW page." And and Joseph comes back with just a picture of somebody looking at the screen going gobsmacked. And it's after he said that I come up with the bit that's been on the wall where I say, "No, why don't you leave? You have next to no Gamergate supporters in your friends list. Nothing of value would be lost if you left. You don't seem to post about Gamergate. In fact, your account is locked so you can't share much. And frankly, you seem to hate us." And that's what I'm sort of coming back to with Rhett Face's comment about this joke stops being funny when you repeated spam this shit stain. Go back to Paul or anti-SJW page, which I thought he'd lost it at that point. And
Yeah,
well,
and
anyway, yeah.
yeah, I think the dude definitely overreacted. It's just a freaking post, and I can understand. Let's say he doesn't agree with it. That's fine.
Mm.
And if you're gonna speak up, that's fine. People are gonna reply to you though, and if you're gonna take it all offensive, I mean,
Yeah.
just
Well,
you
I think.
can't. You're putting yourself out there. There's gonna be a reply, no matter what you do. That happens in real life too. People don't just stay shut up unless you're around your friends and they don't want to question you, or like,
Mm.
oh, But he overreacted, and I mean, I'm gonna
Well,
play devil's advocate here.
what I thought there, mate, was because he'd come in very angry from the start, and as soon as I'd responded in what I thought, for me especially, was quite a measured tone, um, and just stood up to him a bit, he immediately took that off, screenshotted it, posted it on the wall, and said, "Oh, blah blah blah, I've had enough of this and blah blah blah, and all these whole people." And
Yeah,
he was the one who'd been bandying the words around. He'd been insulting everyone else. And as soon as someone stood up to him, he just throws a screenshot and runs away out of the group. And
yeah,
so yeah, in this is the way to stand up and deal with SJWs. Just stand up to them a couple of times about their silly little issues, tell them their issues are silly, and they will run off and because they want to go be busy somewhere else, trying somewhere else. And sooner or later they'll wind themselves into a corner and they won't find anywhere else to go and stay. Praise
yeah.
the day.
You're absolutely right though. But in all devil's advocate, I understand where he's trying to go with this though, because Gamergate has been labeled once again, as always, it's a hate movement against women and blah blah blah. I don't need to repeat it because
Yes.
I'm
Do
sure
not need.
there's a card somewhere where they
Yeah.
read this out of. And we've heard the exact same lines over and over again. So I guess he's like, oh, worry about our public image. But the question is, if it's just jokes around, we're not literally targeting the person. We're not, it's just even a picture. There's not even anything written on it, and he's reacting this way. Again, I can see it because where he doesn't want us to look bad. But I mean, does Gamergate really have to worry about a PR image though? In that sense, though, I mean, it's a
Mm.
hashtag.
Yes. Do we have to worry about a PR image? That is a very good point because we nearly buried the damn hashtag this weekend. So, and that would have been 13 years of bad PR, but also continued PR. There is this saying, there's no such thing as bad PR, and the kind of, and it's not true. It's not true in any way, shape, or form. Bad PR is bad PR. But we had the kind of bad PR that was actually good. We had the notorious reputation. We had the indefatigability. We had the aura of why don't they die? Why won't they go away? How indestructible are these fucking people? You know, we had all that, and by changing our internal makeup about that, even a slight bit, we lose the magic, as it were. We kill the golden goose. And mm,
But yeah, so and you're right. It just once we start doing, I mean, like you said,
yeah.
no PR is really a bad PR, and we've gotten pretty far with just bad PR. I mean, we
Yes.
we've done
Yeah.
an extremely
Well,
well job.
well, no, we've even tipped the bridge. We've tipped the balance point of bad PR into good PR because we've had bad PR so long, but we've kept maintaining our point and our goals that like a crazy thing is happening to video gaming. It's corrupt, it's weird, it's perverse in a lot of ways we've seen. And you need to look at it, the media. And because we've seen that the media doesn't want to look at it, we've started working on them as well. And other people have. It's become common knowledge how corrupt the media is. And Gamergate has been a wonderful talking point in that because it's shown that even in tiny, insignificant areas, the media is happy to collude and has tentacles that stretch right out into media that you wouldn't think. How things like BuzzFeed and Polygon and Gawker and bigger publishing networks and news stations are all massively interconnected. And Microsoft is paying for news stations like MSNBC to echo the the things that students and colleges are saying. You see how much massive influence all these different global corporations have in pushing the anti-Gamergate agenda. We, we knew we were going to lose from the start, but we have at least highlighted the problem and acted as a cancer marker, as it were.
And
Now,
that's
can you do about 10 minutes of talking because like
yeah,
I,
definitely. I
I have
actually
a
want to speak about this because I've
yeah
been waiting to go in, and that's the other thing. And I honestly believe if we try to keep going through this whole good PR looking thing, Gamergate will die.
mm,
Because no matter what we do, even even we can save little puppies from a bridge while a fire, and lose a leg in the process. We're
yeah
still gonna get the bad PR no matter what we do. There's just no way around it. We
you're right. There's no
we
way
are
to get
labeled as the boogeyman. We are the boogeyman of the internet. There's no ifs or buts about it. There is
and
nothing we can
we
do
should
to
yes
get
and we should
rid.
use that. We should live up to that and love that.
Yeah, we should embrace it. And now, I mean, I'm not saying become like evil secret organization or anything, but we shouldn't really care what people say about the tag. It's damaged goods, but it's goods that makes an influence, that makes an impact. You know, we're
Mm.
that necessary voice, and people listen. People are not ignoring us. It's working. And if we start trying to
So
conform to make our PR, we're gonna have to be very careful what we have to say. And unfortunately, and this is the truth in anything, sometimes the loudest voices is the best voice, because that's the only sometimes the voice you can get across. And when you hear that
well,
loud
the
voice,
people who've been sorry, Karen.
no, no, go ahead.
I shouldn't have jumped in. I was going to say the people who are screaming loudest about the PR, and it was just literally a thought that flashed out of my head, are the ones that are least able to explain Gamergate to the media. I mean, they're saying, oh, we're worried about our PR. They're talking about their representation with other SJWs and that kind of thing. That's what their PR, to my mind, is. Um, to my mind, our PR is sticking to the story we've always had and befriending journalists, befriending news agencies, and saying, there is another side. Um, Here are our facts. This is what we represent. This is our narrative on it. have a look at it, have a think about it, see if you can work with it as a story, if you can fit it into your news beats. We're happy to talk to you. We have people to come and give you vox pops and to give you interviews and all this business. People who can speak for the movement because they're recognised. That's hard this weekend than it was last weekend, but we could do that. That's the lessons we should have learned from airplay. And I think we nearly had until more drama popped up. Surprise, surprise.
Yeah, and
We
again,
shouldn't have finished. Yeah. Carry on, sir.
no, I was gonna
Carry
say
on.
it's good. Well, and I think that's what happened is it was again that big whole PR push. Like we have to make GamerGate immaculate, but you can't. Nothing's pure perfect and stuff. And yeah, we should keep
No.
talking about ethics in video game journalism and all this. Absolutely, there is no question. But you cannot do a PR spin on Gamergate. It just doesn't work. It's a hashtag. People keep seeing this as an
There is,
organization.
yes, a very good point. There is nothing to spin about. Well, what can you spin? It's all these different individuals doing all these different things. There's no real coalition that controls or knows or is blamable about anything. It
There's
really is a bunch of individuals, and it's moderately scary.
there isn't like an organization or corporate board or tax
Yeah.
stockholders or anything like that. Which is part of the reason why we've been able to fight against SJWs and anti
Well,
Gamergate so well, because they're used to fighting that kind of format. That's probably
it's
one of the strongest points.
it's weird. I'll tell you what. The reason there's no leaders in Gamergate is kind of weird. It's a draw on from how it started. There's a bunch of people in all sorts of different groups and all sorts of different networks, all with having a common standalone feeling about a problem that they faced in their networks and all these different places. When the call came out, I mean, from the conspiracy stuff, that's what really triggered it. When all that broke, it was people passing videos around, YouTubes around from like Sargon and Monday Math, and I was putting them in places like the Honey Badgers group and the Voice for Men, and going around putting them on poll and stuff like that kind of thing. And these videos and this general call to arms against groups like Kotaku, which we'd all of us already seen were absolutely horrible and were absolutely trying to push an agenda, a very left-wing, a very hard left-wing agenda into gaming, into all sorts of elements of culture. We'd all seen that, and it was very spontaneously was an oriflame, a flag, a rising call, and it all sprung up from everywhere. And right at the conspiracy, things were go, and something was going to happen. Now, a lot of people say it wasn't until the game is a dead thing that until Adam Baldwin coined the term Gamergate, that Gamergate really began. But right from the beginning of the conspiracy up to there was a massive bolus of momentum for change and for an end to the kind of stuff that people were being fed, the pap that people were being fed as games journalists, and how it was so obviously tainted with this bizarre politics. So that I think it very much was everybody that started
I'll give you my take on
Gamergate.
this.
Difficult to coin.
I
Yes.
agree that yeah, I think the conspiracy started it, and definitely there was a big push on it. But I don't think our audience would have not been as big if it wasn't for the fact what the media wrote about the gamers are dead. Now I'm going to explain why.
Oh yeah.
The reason being there was a huge reaction to censorship, and that hit actually mainstream news. We were already targeted as evil gamers were horrible people. And as a result, some people picked this up and they ran with it, and there were some people like Milo who took it up. What ended up happening, not only were gamers uniting against a common enemy, a common issue, we also started getting people completely outside of the gaming industry, gamers, people involved in the culture at all, completely nothing to do whatsoever, and they started joining. Because I kid you not, When I was at the
No.
meetup in Miami, there was at least 5 people I met that had nothing to do with video gaming, but completely agreed with what we were doing, what was going on
Excellent.
in gaming's media, and about culture warfare that's been going on. And
Because
they're
there was
actually,
that journalism conference, wasn't there, going at the same
yes,
time?
that's when it happened. And they were there because, trust me, these same people believe in ethics and journalism, but there is a
Mm,
sort of there is an issue going on with ideology, and it's not an issue about, oh, I'm going to share my opinion. This is my intake on it and why things should be this way. No, 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 no. It's not an
mm,
opinion pieces. No, it's brainwashing, storming, and forcing people, and
yes.
collusion, and
Yeah.
the backhandedness of the whole media that causes this issue to rise. You know,
We should call the question, shouldn't we? We're saying, when you say this is an opinion piece, whose fucking opinion is it? Is it your opinion, that you've come to naturally, or is it the opinion of Karl Marx and a couple of feminist professors through the years? Is this? Am I looking at Andrea Dworkin's work here? Am I looking at, another feminist ideologue's work here? Stick the feminist in where you want, but that's the problem, isn't it? These op-eds claim to they slip through as being just people's opinion, but they are, as you say, complete brainwashing. Why have I just reiterated you? What was the fucking point of that? Jesus. I'm bad at this podcasting, Lark, I tell you.
are you referring to the why? How do we get in this discussion?
Well, no,
Well,
no, I'm just saying I've totally reiterated your point, just backed it
oh,
up.
that's
Nothing
okay.
really,
That's
yeah.
fine.
Well,
But
I
no, you're
haven't really
absolutely.
expanded or expounded on it at all. Yeah,
But yeah, exactly though. You give a point, and but it was more than that. It was it's trying to change a culture to your means, and you can't. What the way culture is supposed to work, you're supposed to have difference of opinion. You're supposed to have, look,
yeah,
this is my ideology. Just be honest about it. This is my ideology. This is what I believe in. This is
yeah,
what I say. Great. And if people agree with you, they'll follow it, and if they don't, they'll say, well,
yeah,
this is a horrible idea. This is why it shouldn't be the case. And people who realize, well, that
yeah.
they have a valid point. But that's not what was happening. That it was this authoritarianism. Well, I mean, this is just repeat of
Yeah.
everything we've
It's become
discussed over
so
the years.
polluted and topsy turvy, though, hasn't it?
Yeah,
You can get your estate totally robbed by the neighbourhood next to it, and you can't say a thing about that abhorrent behaviour, which is abhorrent in the 20th century and social, because they're a different race to you. And so they might have come over and cut your dog to fucking pieces and stole everything in your shed. And when you went on holiday, they came and actually robbed your house and stole everything. And you just got to live with it and keep paying your insurance and just think, well, that's the way the world is. It's fucking crazy.
yeah, no, and you're right. And this actually goes back to the PR image. So these people that we've always had issues with, and mind you, gamers didn't start this fight. We didn't do this. So gaming
Yeah.
culture in general. I mean, there was just a hashtag just the other day, which a lot of people didn't even talk about. It was called, I think it was D15 USD or something. And it was
Yeah,
talking about
you're
how
right that a lot of people didn't talk about it. I've not heard of it.
it was basic. It was a humanities, arts, and technology discussion, and
Yeah.
the topic was about how women and gaming culture is toxic, and stuff like
Yeah.
that. Not a lot of people looked into it. Not a lot of people. I tried getting more information. I couldn't do it. I was happy when I was at work, and everything else. But the little bit I gathered, yeah, they were spinning the gaming culture in a bad light, you know, and
Yeah.
so and I mean, gaming culture in general doesn't have voices or anything. I mean, except not for GamerGate, but
Oh, it
was
does.
put.
No, it does. No, it
Okay,
does. It's just
okay.
they're not
Let me
really
finish.
listened to by the
Let,
main media. Sorry, yes.
let me finish. We'll go back
Sorry,
to that.
Locke. Yeah.
But no, 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 that's okay. So no matter what, gaming culture is getting bad PR, and nothing's really gaming culture isn't really doing anything necessarily bad or good. No, so regardless, even GamerGate, no matter what, and this goes back to what we were talking about, no matter what PR you do,
Yeah.
we're labeled as that, and they have the power, unfortunately. And, we chip in our way, but regardless, no matter what we do, it's gonna stay. You know.
Yeah, there's ways we can subvert all that, and there's ways we are doing that. firstly, by befriending the media we like, the people we think are honest and that we have the most chance with. And we are doing that with people like Milo on our site. I've been chatting to Louise Mensch a lot, as have other people in Gamergate. We're talking to, we talk to all sorts of journalists, and Packman, um, Crowder, all sorts of people. We're trying to push out and get our message out into journalists of all scapes and levels, and and and, and media who will listen and be nice to them, push our message to them. That's a good one. Also, we are trying to push out and fuck with media and expose media that don't like us, um, and that want to do the SJW thing. Um, and that's being done by digging. So I don't really want to get into that because I'm not a digger.
No,
I do.
I've done it a little bit, but I'm not very good at it. So
Yeah,
yeah.
I did one dig enough to convince me that there was a lot of work in it because we had a look at a media organisation's involvement in awards ceremonies. It was very much like the stuff we did with Phil Fish and the IGD, what's it, the IDC, the IGC, the awards ceremony that he was fucking around with. And it was very, very similar. The same people were winning every year. You could predict the people who were going to win every year and that kind of thing. Um, and not much came of it, so I'm not going to mention any of the names. But yeah, we've done an awful lot of digging, and we haven't used all of it. We've dug everything out, a lot of it, but it's just so unbelievable. It's so unbelievable what is planned and what this is part of. I mean, Seattle for Truth is not wrong about his stuff. He's just presented it in a way that's the crap out of people and allowed them to ignore it. But the stuff about the Common Core and about Microsoft and about wanting to reduce the price of what, reduce the wage costs of programmers and really high level, traditionally male jobs, it's all true. It's, and you have to have an opinion on it because these are major shifts in how the world works, major shifts in how people are paid and, and the whole bang. And I mean, if all these women are going to come into programming, who's going to have all these children? If everyone's going to be gay, who's going to have all these children? What's it all about? What's this common core stuff about? Why do gamers have to die as an identity for you to be doing it for SJWs and for the Common Core and these academics to be pushing all this crazy?
It's really interesting you brought up Common
Uh,
Core. Um, um, it's really brought because the Model UN pretty much, I mean the UN, sorry, actually put an
yeah,
actual panel saying this is what we should do, this is what we should have, and every country supposedly is supposed to go along those lines. And what ended up happening was a lot of the same issues are exactly what Common Core is. So it's kind of taking a Model UN suggestion. What's interesting enough,
yeah,
a lot of the people that were in that head of those programs and stuff in the Model UN are actually, straight up communists, socialists. They Karl Marxists,
yes, yes,
and
massive cultural Marxist. Yeah,
yeah, and it's exactly what that. And surprise, Bill Gates is a very big supporter of them,
yeah, no shit.
actually.
Yeah,
So it's actually interesting you brought that up. Um, but yeah, there is definitely something going on, and again, if I mean, again, there's not, if you want to be gay, there's no problem with that. But there's this initiative of like you have to be this way, you have to be that way, um,
yeah,
and and it's
it's
kind of
bizarre,
crazy,
isn't it?
and they're trying
Because
to push that.
especially, yeah, especially when you hear all this stuff about global warming and too many populations and all this bit stuff. And we don't need so many people around. And they're all pushing everything that if you look at it through the angle of is this designed to stop white people breeding in the West? Yeah, it kind of is. This kills babies. This makes people gay. This makes people trans. This makes people, young white men, heterosexual men so scared of having sex at college that they don't. You look at all this stuff and through that lens, and it all rings true. Does that do that? Does that do that? Does that do that? Yeah, it all does. Yeah, it
I
all
have
does.
to disagree with you. I don't think that's necessarily all culture Marxism. I just think that might just sometimes be the individual.
You're
You know.
right to spot what I said as a fallacy. You're right
Oh,
to
I'm
spot
sorry.
it as
Yeah.
a
Okay.
fallacy, but I'm just saying. I'm not even really trying to prove a point. I'm just saying, don't you get the hunch as well? It's a bad argument, but, and it ain't even white men. I mean, you you're as Hispanic as hell, aren't you, my brother?
Yeah, yeah.
Not
I'm fucking I'm mixed. I got Cuban. I got Spaniard. I
yeah,
do have some European. But
yeah, yeah. But here's the thing. Here's the thing that makes us all come together and makes us all one. Yeah, we're modern, civilized people, speak the English language, and can operate machines and all that clever stuff like science and shit. Yeah, that's where we all come together.
yeah, it's
That's
it's a
what
it's a
they want
Western
to
culture
attack.
thing. Honestly, that's what it is. It's Western culture.
It's just
And
Western culture. Yeah.
yeah, and it's modern Western. Yeah, like you said, modern. It's modern Western culture. And and a lot of people just don't like the idea of it. They have
Yeah.
completely different.
Yeah. The ideas of diversity is what modern Western culture was doing. I mean, in that it was giving everyone a chance. Hang on, I got a bong on at the moment. I mean, it was giving everyone a chance to come to this country or to come to any Western country and make as much as they could or they couldn't of themselves. There was asylum, there was a certain amount of welfare for people, there was education, there was a chance to integrate, there was a chance to better yourself, all this good stuff. And with the idea that you would use this good stuff and you would become, within a few generations, absolutely as much of your culture as you wanted to keep, but otherwise you would just like everyone in England. And we're all integrated, but diverse and different, but integrated. We could work a country together because we're all modern Europeans.
And it's actually pretty interesting because that honestly is an example of exactly what gaming culture is. Really think
Mm,
about it. Guess what
mm,
gaming is about? Everyone has a set. You get the same exact
yeah,
tools,
you can be from
same
anyone,
opportunities as
anywhere.
everybody else,
Yeah,
and
and you're gonna get
you
through.
get to go based on your skill sets, on what you can do. Personally, you can
Yeah,
go off and do. It's
you're
there.
even gonna get a certain amount of welfare in gaming because you're gonna get started at a very basic level with tutorials and leg ups, and people in multiplayer games are going to say, "Oh, they're only a noob. Give them a bit of equipment, even if you piss them around a little bit, kind of thing like that." They're not going to super stamp you in any game, because everyone wants people to join. They know how quickly an MMO can die. Um, and it's never been part of our culture to be cunts. Before all these SJWs appeared, every clan I was in, we had we had the sexist, homophobic, the whole bit in our clan rules that you can't do this, you can't say this to people, you certainly can't say it to the enemy, you can't say it in our clan rooms, you can't say it in our Skypes. You can't be bullying people for those kind of reasons. In fact, we don't want any bullying, shittiness at all. You're a professional when you're in a clan. You're a professional when we go out and fight. You're a soldier. You're a warrior. And because some of us are paying money into this, some of us are spending week longs of time in this, some of us are taking it incredibly seriously. If you can't take it seriously, you can't come with us because we don't want you embarrassing us on the battlefield. We don't want to have to pay for your errors. And that is the way of gaming. And it's a brutal system that enforces diversity and it gives everyone equality. It's a brutally equal system based on merit. Um, that that sees no color, that sees no sex, that sees no difference except skill, and it's perfect. It's beautiful. It shouldn't be all of life, but it should be part of life. It's a sport.
Yeah, and it's just meant to be recreational and stuff, and and anybody who wants to do something a certain way, in their games,
Mm.
by all means, let it. And if people like it, they'll play it and buy it. If not, people won't play it and don't buy it.
Exactly.
You know,
Yeah.
yeah, that's all
You
there's
look at
really
the
to
games.
it.
Well, you look at the games that do really well. They're usually incredibly free. They let more or less everyone in, like these uh, things like Dota and League of Legends and that kind of thing. Smite even. They let as many people, or even Hearthstone, they let as many people in. You can do a lot to get yourself better. But you see what I mean? They get very competitive. They get super competitive. People are competing all around the world to be the best of the best of the best, and it's a good thing.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, there's nothing wrong with competitiveness, and whatnot. Um, but yeah, but we've gone off topic.
We've massively gone off topic. Yeah. Well, I told you I was a little bit.
No, that's fine. It's okay. So, but I don't
My
know
coffee wore off.
I don't know what we were
So
talking
look,
about now.
right, okay, yeah. We were talking initially about all the stuff that was happening
Yes.
in the game again, not your shield. What happened was Paolo threw the rules open to as no content bans, post anything, and that kind of thing. Then I think in the background, where a lot of us said, "Oh yeah, great idea," but a lot of people like Queenie, Katara, I think they approached him in the background, because then suddenly the rule had gone from him singly to the four original admins: Oliver Campbell, Queenie, Tara, and the chap that looks like a white dog whose name temporarily eludes me. I love a chap who looks like a white dog, and please don't take that as any sort of insult. Um,
It's on air,
but
so I mean, I won't tell
well, yeah,
directly.
yes, well, absolutely. He's probably not listening. There's probably no one listening. I never look, but yeah. So the group is back in their hands, and I think that is probably the best thing because it's going to add stability. It's going to add content. And I've always said, as I was saying on the wall today, the more content that you push for a group, especially if you're having problematic problems in a group and everyone's arguing and being problematically problematical with every problematical moment problematics. If you push content on all of that, people kind of get a bit distracted and they stop arguing and they go, "Oh look, here's a funny picture of Zoe Quinn, like look on a pig's body," and oh look, here's Sargon of Akkad on the pig's body, and oh look, and then it just solves all these troubles and these bitter arguments. Fine.
It's hard to balance. I mean, and first of all, that's why you need some type of organization and structure when
Yeah,
with the exception of Gamergate. But it's the one exception I think that the rules
yeah.
don't apply to. It's really weird.
In
But like,
individual groups that are being
yeah,
controlled by people, absolutely, they have to make their own rules,
yeah,
and because otherwise there will be chaos, and people will come fuck you around and troll with you, and you have to set shit up so that you can spook people if you just don't like it. Fuck
and
it.
I
You know what I
honestly,
mean?
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah. No,
Okay,
your mic was out. You were saying I wanted to hear,
okay.
buddy. Tell me,
Well,
Jesus.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm too nice, or I don't want to be rude.
You are, you are, you are, you are.
But
Yeah.
no, but and ideally speaking, the idea of no censorship, freedom of posting and everything, it sounds absolutely wonderful, and I'm a big advocate of that, absolutely. But
It
when
wouldn't have
you're trying,
worked, would it?
that's the thing. Unless you're gonna go
Yeah.
complete anarchy and you allow this to happen, society as a result with anarchy, because we've seen it doesn't work. There's a reason why human beings naturally go for organization and structure. Now, I'm
Yeah.
not talking about an authoritarian state of government or authoritarian rulership or anything like that. I still don't agree with censorship
No,
or anything
just
like that.
very basic laws that allow them to live and build and keep their own stuff without being
Ex-
robbed and fucked over again all the time. Yeah.
exactly. because then what ends up happening, you have crazy people going at one another, and and people are going to be arguing and stuff because what, and then some people have iron skin, some people don't, and then they're going to see something and they're going to get offended or they're going to get upset because they don't agree with it. Like what's happening with the Facebook group. Like we had some people leave because
Yeah.
they don't think that's the appropriate thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So unless the
It's,
group is
yeah. Yeah, sorry, carry on. I really wanted to get back onto that twat because I was just looking at his post just when you were saying that. Fucking
um
great, Facer. You wanker. Fuck you, Facer. I'm still in the group. You're not in the group. Ha! Eat that shit, Facer. Yeah.
I love you, Ian. You're hilarious. Um,
Well,
but so there ends up being that chaos, and then again, you don't want to censor anything, but nothing gets done. It's just people bitching at one another, and there's this whole chaos on it. And
yeah, you just need a grown up in there who's saying, well, look, I'm not going to censor anything unless it's completely fucking outrageous. And then they use their balanced adult judgment to decide what is fucking completely outrageous. Or you can do it another way. You can say, I'm just running things by the general rules of Facebook's terms and conditions. I don't want to be the arbiter of the taste. Generally, I will publish a load of my stuff, and that's what I think the group is about. And I don't mind other people putting their inputs in when they do. But when something is completely inappropriate, I'm just going to remove it. I won't pester the person who does that, but I'd rather they didn't come up to me and rear up at me or on the wall when I do that, because this is my place, not yours, sort of thing. I'd be really sort of feminist about it, honestly, sweetie, it's worth doing. Do you like doing that? Do you suddenly come over? Or hello? Did
yeah,
you
yeah,
die?
no, I'm
Oh,
here.
whoa!
Listen,
He said, "Yeah, hi."
no, I was listening to you. But yeah.
Whoa, but you're playing a game in the background as well, aren't
No,
you?
no, no, I'm not. I'm not. I
Yes,
was
you
listening
are.
to you. No, I'm not.
Yeah,
I'm listening
you're
to you. I
listening
was
to
letting
me,
you
but then
speak. I was letting
yeah,
you speak, Ian. Okay.
okay,
But
okay. But
but like
sometimes I drop and I expect you to chip in, and
oh,
you're
okay.
just like,
I I am horribly sorry, sir. I I, I
I
have
mean, come on,
failed.
buddy, I can't do this all on my own.
Okay, well,
You
but
know,
like you were just saying though, like right now there's an op going on. And I'm
yeah.
looking on our again, a lot
Yeah,
of this stuff
tell
is
me about the
hilarious.
op.
I love it. I love it. It's freaking hilarious, and I'm cracking up. But there's got to be a mixture. Like there's a suicide prevention month, and someone's trying to
Yes.
start an op on that. There's also one.
Oh,
I forgot what it's called. It's called OP Ploy Gone, and something about emailing and targeting about bots about some of the stuff with
yeah.
they're breaking the
Okay.
Federal Trade Commission.
I think I saw that. Yeah. The
So
Federal Trade Commission, yeah, and getting to
so
hit them up with harder ethics rules.
exactly because apparently
Yeah.
they're still breaking them and stuff. So there's
Well, their native advertising is mad. Yeah.
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 So they're not. It's all the way in the bottom. I mean, it's again a lot of stuff here is freaking hilarious. Don't get me wrong, but people are not aware of this because there's literally a thread now about dogs. It's
Yeah.
pretty fucking funny, you know.
Yeah.
So
You
I
won't see
understand.
this shit on Kotaku. Yeah. Yeah, they won't say this stuff in the real gaming press. They won't bother with this, will they? It takes organisations like Gamergate to drag this shit out of the fucking cupboard, out of the shadows, and they'll keep getting away with it.
Yeah, and unfortunately, it's gone down to consumers, which is fine. I mean, that's what I love about capitalism. We have the control in that sense, that money and power. So I mean, it's
Yeah,
our job to do that, and that's what GamerGate is. It's essentially a watchdog on the media and making sure, besides following ethics, that they're not pushing. And if they're pushing ideology, hey, you're completely wrong. Or if they're insulting gaming culture, that's what GamerGate's about. You know,
mm.
it at least that's the way I've seen it, and it's against censorship and everything else also. And it's also
Well, yeah,
bringing up issues that unfortunately the gaming media doesn't bring up. There's corruption, like in we've seen in, like you brought up earlier, about gaming award ceremonies and stuff. Like there's a
yeah,
lot of digging that was done on that, and then it's shown there's actual collusion and there's things going on. Why aren't
Yeah.
they talking about this? Why aren't they? Why does it have to be Gamergate to do it? And
Well, you
that's
can answer your own question there, aren't you? Why
yeah.
aren't the mainstream media talking about fraud and collusion in the events of the gaming media? Because nobody gives a fuck.
And
That wouldn't be on your main. You wouldn't see that on the 9 o'clock news, would you?
no,
Not
of course not, because it doesn't sell.
considering
It doesn't relate to
refugees.
everybody.
Yes, it's not very sexy at all.
No,
Yeah.
no, it's not. And so again, it all comes down to us, and then then of course, gaming media again. This well, we know this is a story of Gamergate. That's what happens.
Mm.
But what was I gonna say? I lost my train of thought. Um,
Oh,
oh
you sexy
yes,
thing, you.
okay, yes, thank you. Yeah,
Yes. Oh,
but
yes. Yes.
okay, so
Are
what
you
actually
ready?
is yeah, what? Yeah, I'm ready to
Let's
go. You want
let's
me to
do
go?
this.
Okay,
Excellent. Come on.
okay.
Tell
Let me
me.
tell what's going on. Exactly what's happening in the main press is actually happening in our Facebook group. We're just talking about things that that are
Mm.
that are conflicting. We're not necessarily talking about other stuff. Again, there's nothing wrong about putting stuff like this, but again, why are we talking about? Well, it's tone policing. I guess that makes them.
Well, the time policing thing. Um, why we why we fight against time policing? Because it's one of the main weapons of the SJWs. I mean, once they can ring fence any talk at all with, oh, that's racist, oh, that's sexist, oh, everything's too misogynist in here, they shut down that line of conversation and no one talks about it at all. So then they get to tell you what that is, what your thoughts are on that subject. And what happens when you try and say, well, no, that's stupid. Oh, no, you just said something sexist. No, shut up, get out of the group. Now, a lot of us in Gamergate are here because we've been thrown out of perfectly wonderful groups for being the kind of people who stand up and say, excuse me, sir, what you just said was stupid. And it was like, no, what you said was sexist, get out. And a lot
Yeah,
of us have that multiple times and are really, really fucking pissed off at these assholes. And they've done it so much that it's more or less continual around the world that everyone's pissed off with social justice warriors. Most of the world don't know what they're called. We do. Gamergate does. Um, the men's rights movement does. Like, there's all sorts of movements that do.
well, and
And
anyone that's been on their hit list is pretty much knows who they are. It's
yeah,
just not the rest of the world because they haven't targeted them yet. Which
yeah.
eventually, once they
Well,
did,
no, they have, but they just don't know who they've been hit by. Yeah, some of us who've got together because we've thought, hang on, we all got hit by, fucked over by feminists in this case, or political activists in this case, or bloody blow, or the black rights movement in this case. They all come together and go, we all got fucked there, and they recognise the pattern, but the rest of the world does never recognises the pattern, and they just go, I did a bad thing. I should be more like what I was told to be and where I fucked up. They go,
yeah,
oh my god, I'm just not racially sensitive enough. Oh my god, I was so ableist towards that guy who waved his
okay.
20-foot
So,
penis at me.
so how do we, how
Christ,
do
you're a
we,
freak.
how do we,
Sorry.
how does that work with the? But how can we? I mean, again, it's a
How
hashtag.
do
You can't
we
really
stop
control it.
that? We,
Yeah.
we, we refuse to tone police each other. We refuse to accept people tone policing. Somebody
Okay.
walks up and calls someone a faggot, yeah, we don't tone police that. If somebody comes up maybe and really pesters a gay guy and says, you're a big faggot, you're an asshole, take them aside and say, no, you fucking behave.
And I agree with you. And
But
that's
equally,
exactly what we need
we
to do.
don't stop people. If someone's having a conversation where they're saying, I don't believe in that transphobia is a thing, you can't shut that conversation down because that's a sensible point. Yeah, hate speech, I'm against. If somebody's coming on and really battering someone because of their gender, their sex, their identity, that's too much. Challenge each other, but you can't hate each other. Sort of. That's what I'm sort of
I,
saying.
I think when it crosses the lines, when you actually start insulting, putting slurs on one another. You know.
Well, no, but yeah, but there are certain slurs that are going to be inherent in your conversation. Like I, for one, will never call a trans person anything other than their original sex. I might use a female name for you if that's what you want to adopt, but I'm really uncomfortable about lying for somebody else's comfort when I don't have anything to do with it.
You
You know
see,
what I
and that,
mean? When they've
this,
done nothing for me, why have I got to lie for somebody else I don't know?
and see,
Do you know what I
and
mean?
that's where you and me are completely like. See, I disagree with you with that, but we're not killing each other. You know what I mean? It's just matter of fact. That's your
Exactly.
opinion, and I have my
Yeah.
opinion, and I think that's what unfortunately happens a lot. Like you said, it's that people can't fathom. Oh, but you need to agree with me because you agreed with me on something else. Like, no, you're an
No.
individual.
Yeah.
You know,
No.
you,
We have a wonderful rainbow of opinions in all of us,
and
don't we? And some of them are very black, and some of them are very golden and shiny.
yeah, exactly. And like we can have a discussion. I'm sure you and me will have a discussion about this, but I'm not gonna end up killing you after the fact, and you're not gonna be killing me
No,
after the
because you're
fact.
in another country and you don't really know me or even know what I look like, and you're a
Well,
big faggot who I
well,
could beat up
well,
any day of the
excuse
week.
me, Mister Snorty Pig guy. You know, you're like
Yeah,
you're
yeah,
fucking Brits.
yeah.
Your
You
ass's head
calling me
is
a
you're
pig?
almost
You
as bad
calling me
as
a
the
pig?
French. You know,
Fuck, bitch. Invite me
whatever,
on the show and
whatever,
start
whatever.
speaking
Bad
Spanish.
dental.
Jesus, my brother. Yeah, I
Now,
am the
but
pig guy. Yeah.
no, but honestly though,
Mm,
again,
yes.
it's we can discuss this and not want to kill one another,
Yes.
you know, and that's
Absolutely.
what people don't understand. That's actually Western culture. It's you can have diversity and civil
Is that?
discussion, and that's what's for gamer
Yeah.
gaming is forgetting about. And I think what happened was we had a lot of people that that just surround themselves with someone, they're not used to exchanging ideas. They're not uncomfortable with, you know,
No. And the
and
left push this idea that they think they're going to eliminate other people's ideas by pushing their no platform idea, which is to say removing platform people because, oh, you said this once or you hung out with this person once, therefore you can never be listened to and everything you say is tainted, which is a
I
genetic fallacy. And they do that
personally,
a lot. But carry on.
but personally, I've experienced this firsthand in GamerGate. There's a lot of
Yeah.
liberals I get along with fine, but
Yeah.
there are some that they can't fathom. Oh, they're fucking conservative. We need to kick them out of the hashtag, you know,
Mm,
or something like that. And I think that's actually what's,
mm,
you know, it's this idea what is good or bad PR. And for some sort of reason, a lot of these liberals think if you're a conservative, it's bad PR.
mm.
I don't know if you get that
Well, I'm
even.
sort of centrist conservative in English terms, which I think means in American terms that I'm incredibly conservative, not neocon, sort of incredibly conservative, basically, sort of a mix between I don't know,
Yeah,
quite
it
libertarian,
it
but
it
you know, fiscally responsible.
it's weird because the politics and like people say, "Oh, our conservatives here would be the conservatives from England are liberals here." I'm like, no, it's not. It's completely different policies and dynamics.
No,
And
yeah.
the thing is, England has a completely different party structure than ours. So
Mm.
you
England's
can't
very much
exact.
more left wing, but our conservatives are far more embattled and
It's
quite
really
more
weird,
positional.
you
Yeah,
know.
I
It's
would
it's
say all of America is far more left wing than the British right wing.
and it's weird because on
British
some issues,
conservative.
I will say Americans are more left, but on some issues, you guys are extremely right. It's really
Oh,
weird.
did I get that wrong?
What? No,
Well, I
no.
mean,
I'm saying depending on the issue, you know, on
yeah.
certain issues, you guys are extremely much more right. Like you guys are big on CCTV and like privacy and stuff. For the most part, in America, we're
And it's an
really against.
amazingly small country as well here. I mean, when we talk about CCTV, pretty much everywhere that isn't a forest is covered. You know, from bridges, motorways, even fucking subways and toilets. Well, not
Are you
toilets.
serious? Toilets?
No, not toilets. I meant
The
um,
bathrooms? No, no. I mean the actual
sewage,
bathrooms. Like,
sewage. I meant sewage outlets and shit like
oh,
that. And everywhere there is a camera to make sure people aren't doing anything fucking odd, like climbing down a sewer thing. You know, that's what I was saying. Toilets, camera thing. Um, that's a vague reference to an anecdote where I was escaping from the cops once. Um,
Okay. I guess it's a
but
British thing.
that's not
I don't get
relevant.
it.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, it again, it's different politics, and everyone here in Gamergate has different politics and ideologies.
Yes.
And some people like you, me, and others are acceptable. Look, we don't agree with you, but we have no problem with that. You know, it doesn't matter. That's not what the issue is here. The issue is about
Yeah, yeah.
gaming.
The recent problem in Gamergate has been that these things have come to a head, and people do care now. And I don't particularly want to deal with the degenerates on the fucking far left of Gamergate anymore, um, because I don't agree with them on a lot of stuff, and I think they want to co-opt the whole thing of Gamergate and make it just what the SJWs want it to be. I think they want to fuck it all up. I feel threatened by them, and I feel that the movement's threatened by them. And I think they should stop, or we should do something to disassociate ourselves from them, so that they can't go around just fucking our brand up, as it were. Not even our brand, but our movement and our good name.
Yeah, it's and like I said, I personally experienced. I mean, I think you saw it once when I was in the Facebook Ultra the original. I had some
Yeah,
dude who was extremely left, and he fucking hated my fucking guts, man. Like
yeah.
he
This,
was he was like, we shouldn't have this here. You know, this is gonna ruin our image. And I was like, what the fuck are you talking about, dude? Like, where have you been? It's a political movement. You're
the
making
point
it a
is,
left issue, and
your
it's
image
not.
should be who you are, and then you make it good. You know, you've got a bad image. Oh no, well, I am a good thing. So you watch as time progresses. I will make my image better. Right.
So
Yeah. Well,
so that's what was happening, and I even saw this earlier on. But again, I think what ended up happening was this whole PR is that people are pushing. Oh, we have to look really good from the SPJ because we got a lot of ground. But what's interesting, instead of talking, and they kept talking about image, but instead we didn't talk about operations. There was a couple of really great ideas going around, but no one took initiative. There was the idea about getting SPJ ethic books and sending it to the fucking press. Look, motherfuckers, this is where you
yeah,
fucked up.
we should have at least had leaflets there or something like that
You
to give
know?
to the whole conference that was there.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
know, of Jen.
And there
That
was
was a
so
missed
many.
opportunity.
No, there was a lot of
And we
things.
went at it wrong. And the speakers went at it wrong. We'd asked for people right early on, like Sargon, to go there, and at the end of the day, there was after a lot of fucking drama from the same usual people. Like we had a load of people there that nobody really know. Luckily, we had some good faces like Kathy, Milo, and, and Christine Hoss Summers. But even then, they came at it the wrong way, and I knew early
Well,
on that like
I, I
JP was not interested in hearing about Gamergate. It was interested in hearing about how the mainstream media specifically had done Gamergate wrong. That's all they wanted to know about, and how that could be changed in the future. Everything
absolutely.
else they didn't give a shit about. Mm.
You're right in that sense that the debate was actually about ethics, and
Yeah.
the first panel was actually about ethics in gaming journalism, which is Gamergate, one of Gamergate's main goals. I have to
Yeah, at
disagree
that
with you.
stage, the panels had been changed so far away from what they originally thought it was going to be like.
But
But it doesn't really matter. So much had been done to accommodate us that, like, everyone
you,
had given up. But people, there was no interest in
there was never
there
going
at
to
that
be
stage.
anti-Gamergate there, though, regardless, because they won't speak with us at all. Because again, they can't handle the difference of opinion. So there was nothing we can really do about that again. But
They
I
can
honestly,
handle the difference of opinion. They throw the difference of opinion into a pit in the ground and then shoot them in the back of the head. That's how they
I
handle difference of
no, honestly,
opinion.
Ian, when they hear it, they shudder and they feel like crying. So
Hmm.
that's they can, they get triggered, um, like crazy, but
Buddy, I'm
I
going to have to ask you a favor,
yeah
super favor. I need a cigarette, and that
yeah
involves about a 75-second run
go
downstairs to where I keep my cigarettes for me to
go
grab
go.
one and
I'll
come
keep
back
on
up.
talking about stuff, um,
Yeah,
but
it's really important because the viewers are bitches. They will leave the very second.
All right, I'll
You
just
stop
start
talking.
calling them faggots and like, hey
Yeah.
guys, you get to hear
Now
me
that's
talk for a while.
talk about
Um,
me when I'm gone. Tell them
you want me to talk
horrible
about
things
Ian?
about that I will just walk back into when I come in later. They love that. I'll
All
go
right,
get them a
cool.
cigarette.
So Ian for me is like a crazy uncle. You know, he talks a lot of stuff, but there's sometimes you really get some really interesting points of view from him. I don't agree with him on everything, but Ian, I believe he's actually comes from a pig and a human. That's why he always has a he's a of a pig snout icon. You know, so there's something really interesting about Ian on that. But you know, he's a little weird, he's a little crazy, but I think most of us are. You know, that's Ian for you. You know, but I can't really say much because I'm kind of a crazy person myself. You know, I mean, who spends their time talking about Gamergate on a stream instead of playing video games? You know, it's when I need to raid in my Final Fantasy character and get him geared up. My eye level is really low. That's horrible. But yeah, you guys are
Hello,
probably
darling.
wondering.
I'm back.
Hello, I was explaining to him how your mother is part pig and
Yes, she
human.
is. Yes,
Uh,
yes,
so
yes. Good old piggy mum.
yeah,
Yes. Mm.
but
But yeah. Well, I'm glad you pointed out where the pig persona came from. It's part that the fact that I am half man, half pig. But also the fact that like I used to be in a gaming clan, and we were fighting in a long war with this Indonesian clan, and because the war had gone on, we got to the stage of hacking each other's websites and
you guys
decoding stuff
hacked.
that was. Yeah, it was. We were decoding stuff, translating stuff written
Oh,
in
oh, oh! I
Indonesian.
thought you guys were like crashing each other's sites or
No,
something.
yeah, we were breaking our way into these sites and then decoding the
You
shit
were
in it
getting
from
intel.
Indonesian into English to find out what they were doing. Yeah, we,
Yeah.
we, we were totally fucking obsessed with this war that we'd been in for months and months and months and months and months. And we got a bit of useful information out, but not much. But one thing we did get out was the fact that over on the other side, they called me, because I was running the clan at the time, they called me something like Senegal Backup or something, which when translated came out as Big Snout the Cunt. And
So that's
yeah,
the story of your icon.
yeah,
That's
so that's why I have this name Big Snout and why I love it so much. I thought I'm owning that. I'm fucking owning that. Big Snout. I like that.
that's
So I've
I've
always
never knew. I never knew. That's a pretty interesting story. Um,
thought, well, yeah.
yeah. Wow.
You gotta win your name, haven't you? You gotta win your name.
Yeah, yeah. I've never had that opportunity except my. Well, I guess the name I use in my video games. But doesn't I didn't really name it. It's
So
just something
you've
I
won
picked
your
up.
name. Yeah, you have. Sure you have. Yeah, you've
I
played
get
in
called
wars.
fiddlesticks sometimes. You know, in
Yeah.
the games. But anyways, but so I again when that happened, there was this whole PR image and everything
Mm,
else, and that's just cascaded down. You know, we stopped concentrating on ops and stuff, and that's why
mm.
we have the problems like in GamerGate and Not Your Shield Facebook group. You know, people, you know, and now everyone's just really
Yeah.
tired and fed up, and they're all arguing with one another. You know, because there's nothing to keep people busy and
And
entertained.
I'm happy to let them. I'm happy to let them for the moment. They do need to let off steam and fight with each other. Because that's how Gamergate works in a way. Um,
But I'm
It
worried
is
because
odd.
I'm worried the tag
We
might split if we keep going too far, though. That's honestly
Yeah, it
like
will. It will. It is. It's going to. But that won't be a bad thing because it will grow from that and it will
do,
change from that. And
do you think
we're
it'll
going
be
to get things that come from this. There will be something like Gamergate that stays. There will be stuff more extreme than Gamergate, and there will be stuff that's weirder than Gamergate. And there'll be all those fucking gay lords as well in some sort of clan. And although they won't all be pointing in the same direction, they will have already a training and a dislike of SJWs and their practices and their splitty uppy techniques. And they'll be primed and immunized for that. And they'll go around starting other groups and other things. And what will happen is the SJWs will keep infecting groups, and those groups will die, whilst we keep infecting groups, and those groups will survive because people want to come to them because they're not going to get tone policed to fucking death. Yeah, and we'll survive and become the bigger species, as it were. So while this is a problem now, it won't be a problem always. Some cells will die, some won't.
It's interesting you brought that up because I noticed something. I remember a lot of people that have left our GamerGate, using the
Yeah.
tag and stuff that were very adamant about anti-SJWs. What's ended up
Mm.
happening is the less we get, the more of us that we start listening to more individuals and stuff. Now, I'm not a
Yeah.
groupie or anything of the sort, but we're seeing is that a little bit the group of members that are really like very defensive of a person they listen to and stuff. As a
Yeah.
result, since there's less of them, when someone from that kind of like idea starts attacking them, there's such a reaction to it that it's freaking
Yeah.
hilarious, because it's been we were so like you were saying we're so
Yeah.
separate and migrated, but at the same time it kind of brings us up. It I guess purifies, or concentrates us in one area, and they get a
Well,
backlash in return.
it
Yeah,
splits. It splits. It purifies. It removes a lot of people, and it allows chance for new growth. I suppose. I mean, a lot of failures probably as well. But the more Gamergate splits up now, but still keeps doing what it's doing. No, I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to say that. No, no, no. I think no. I know. I'm changing my mind. I think the core of Gamergate absolutely needs to stay together. Um, but I think it's okay if some stuff splits off and wants to do its own thing, and we should support that. We should separate ourselves from it, but we should support it entirely and
I,
let it do what it wants to do.
I honestly think there needs to be an organization, not anything associated with GamerGate directly, but a lot of the stuff that these.
I don't.
No, no.
But there
What
we
I
go.
mean
Carry
is, I
on.
mean specifically talking about the whole ethics in game journalism thing. There needs to be an organization just for that. I think if that was to happen, a lot of the issues we're seeing now might be resolved. You know,
Yes.
because that you can at the tactics and everyone a lot. I hate using the word. I'm gonna call it the ethic cucks only. You know,
Mm.
there's a lot of tactics
No,
that they
that's fine
use.
with me.
You know, a lot of toxins and stuff they use, that would be perfect for that. That you know what, you have your little organization. This actually will be effective in this organ because it's an organization. Everything you're doing, the way you're doing it,
Yeah.
it may get co-opted eventually. I don't
I
really give a
don't
shit.
mind cabals if they're going to stay in their own kind of thing. But if
Yeah,
cabals are going to set themselves up to try and control the whole of Gamergate, they instantly become a problem. If
it
you want to
does.
separate off into a little bunch because you want to do a secret op and it's for the main good of Gamergate, and then later on you all want to come out and wave your flags and say, yeah, we did this shit, man, and it rocked. That's fine. That's super brilliant. That's how we should be rolling. But
It,
when, I don't know, these little cabals try and push these mad ideas on us, that opens us up. If we start accepting that in short term, we'll let all sorts of, what's the word, co-option
yeah,
idiots who want to subvert us.
and again, that's and ethics in journalism. It's a very good argument. There's nothing wrong with it, but there's room for it to be other things. You know,
Yeah,
it doesn't have to be single-minded. And honestly, what makes GamerGate so strong, and it's because we have all these different types of personalities and ideas, and people way to think it's to be effective.
yeah,
That it just keeps a lot of people on their toes, especially the people that we
yeah.
have disagreements with. If we
Mm.
take that away,
Especially
we
the people
effectively
with
be
big
weaker.
toes,
Yeah,
you know.
but think about it. They
Yeah,
know the people who wanted to do this
yeah.
coup up. I don't know if it was a troll or whatever it stands.
Coup
I have no
d'etat,
coup
coup
d'état.
d'etat, to
You
cut
know,
off the head.
whatever.
It's from the
Let's if
French.
they really meant it or
French, you
not.
know.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I actually have fresh insulin. Um, but you know,
Oh,
and it's
good
embarrassing to
man.
say. I try not to bring it up. But
Not shopping.
but
You're getting all tonight, listeners. Yeah.
the thing
Sorry,
is
carry
yeah, if we
on. Mm.
if there's a reason why they wanted to bring everybody across to change this whole thing because they know effectively they won't be as effective if they just don't bring everyone over to this idea because you can't. They realize that the core of Gamergate and everything else will not be effective if you just don't have everyone agree with it, even the most extreme limits,
Mm.
because you need everything in order for it to be effective. So if you try to do a new hashtag with this, it
Yeah.
will not be effective unless you have the same formula. and they know this, and that's why it was a like all or nothing, like what some of them were saying, you
That's
know,
why they wanted to stop the hashtag or split it up in any way.
which was funny because it was a joke,
Yeah,
even though some
and,
people took it
and
serious.
we want well, and this is the upshot of what has been suggested lately from our own people to stop the hashtag and split up and do different things. And I mean, yes and no. Yes and no is the horrible answer to this question.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's a good idea, but yeah, there has to be some Gamergate.
realistically, it's not. I mean, in paper, it's like communism. It sounds wonderful. It sounds amazing.
On paper, we can't lose any ground. We
Yeah,
can't say
but
Gamergate is dead at any point.
but in
We never say that. There must always be somebody wearing the tattoo, wearing a green and purple blazer. You
yeah,
know, there must always be somebody standing up saying, "I'm Gamergate."
yeah. Because I mean,
We have
honestly,
to. We can't lose. We can't give any ground.
you can't, and that tag will, and honestly, it will stay around. But
Mm,
like
I'm gonna
I
keep
said,
using it.
I'm not gonna get rid of it. I think it's gonna stay around for a while, but I do think it will get split. But it's
Mm,
gonna stick around forever because honestly, as long as there's an attack on gaming culture in general, you can't.
mm,
Just there's nothing you can do about it because it just takes one person to use it. That's it. It just takes one
mm.
individual, and it just spreads. There
One
is a
old
history
crazy
behind it.
Japanese guy out in the jungle,
You
still
know,
thinking the war is going on, and I will be that man. Yes, I will be living in a little bamboo hut with my katana. Yes, and the war will still be very weird for me.
that's so funny because it's true.
It's
Um,
true.
I know. I remember that story. I read about it. The guy was surprised when he found out it was over. He was like,
Yeah,
"What?"
he'd been
He was
looking
he
for
was old.
airplanes every day.
He
Yeah,
was how old was he? He was like 98, or he was really old. Like
yeah.
I can't. He was
So
an old
yeah,
man. He was fighting the
amazing,
war till
amazing Japanese loyalty and devotion to a cause. And this is the strange thing that Gamergate has as well. This amazing devotion and grinding ability to a cause, and this there is no such thing as defeat. We do not recognize defeat, so you know, and we've won because of it. We've won amazing things. We've accomplished things we couldn't have dreamt of, and we couldn't have persuaded people to accomplish in the first place because we're just such dogged fucking grinders.
we don't. I'm used to staying up 12 o'clock at night, getting 2 hours of
Yeah,
sleep just to get my next level. You know.
yeah.
So you're absolutely right. And again, that's not
I've
gonna go
got two
away.
games running in the background I'm doing dailies on, and
Yeah.
yeah, it's
But
crazy.
but
Sir, carry on. You tell me. I talk too
well,
much.
I was just gonna say, I don't know. What do you think what we can do about you have any ideas for like any missions or anything going on?
For
Like,
operations and missions.
yeah, like
I'd like to do something with the press.
the press.
I would like to have an operation where we all go around befriending journalists that we think might be amicable to our cause, either because they're very ethically good or because they are anti-progressive. To be frank, I would like to see us have a thing where we do that.
You
I would
have to
also
though.
like to well, that's not the whole of the operation. Part of this operation is also to combine that with a press conference for all sorts of journalists about Gamergate, and we make it a lovely press conference. It's like fully catered, lovely buffet, wine, cheeses, the whole fucking damn thing. And we use the journalist friends that we've got to let their other journalist mates who are not so ethically sound that it's going to be a lovely fucking party and it'll be a cool laugh with some gamers and fucking come away pissed. Cool. And there we give more people in the media the sell about what Gamergate actually is. Um, that I did have a third part to this plan. I've written it down on. on one of my clipboards somewhere, but I can't find that clipboard tonight because uh, I'm not going to look for it. But there was a third part of the plan, which was sort of it was to maximise on it, just generally the fact that we people in journalism to that was it, to refine the narrative that we got back off them onto ourselves, pull the narrative back into ourselves that we created by listening to journalists and working with real journalists doing the conference, to pull back journalistic understanding of how to work with the media and how we could best work our narrative into the media back into Gamergate so that we were always projecting that. That was my plan.
That's an interesting thing. Yeah, just build contacts and socialize and market yourself.
Yeah,
And it works.
with journalists,
Yeah,
with the mainstream media journalists.
yeah. I guess that is kind of like a PR issue, but it's not because we're not changing our image. We're just explaining what we are and what we stand for.
Exactly, and it's a grown-up way to handle your PR. I mean, it's like fucking about on Twitter, whining and posting lewds. What the fuck? It doesn't.
And again, it's there's too much. If you do, but you can't enforce that. I disagree. I can't. It sucks when
Oh,
people
we
do
can
that
do
crap.
some crazy stuff to get media stories, but it doesn't get us the narrative.
Yeah.
I mean,
Um,
it gets us silly little. It usually gets us burnt, but it's
well, I
difficult.
mean,
It's
it
difficult.
helped us
I
with
mean,
SPJ.
we've had conferences, and well, some of our meetups have only ever met the news media because of the bomb threats put against us. I mean,
Well,
that's what
no.
I would say.
Well, I mean, it gave us a lot of coverage. But that's not completely true. I was actually surprised there was a lot of journalists that actually spoke to us before the bomb threat about what was going on and what
Yeah,
was
but
the
that was the
issues.
Miami thing, and you were a journalist.
That's true. You're absolutely right. It's just hard because again, and I guess this goes back to the whole thing I was saying about journalism and sensationalism. Unfortunately, that's
Mm.
what sells money now. No, people don't want news anymore. I
Absolutely.
guess, or they do, and it's just the media is completely wrong, and they keep trying to sell. Well, we got to make money, so we're selling narratives and whatnot. So
Yes.
that keeps on happening. And it's just in general in news in general. It's not just and I might hate to say this, but a lot of conservative papers are guilty of it, and they're getting more into clickbaiting titles themselves now.
Conservative papers.
Oh yeah, yeah, at least in America. I don't know
Yeah.
about Europe.
So
But
they're pinching the wrong aspect of social justice tactics and
yeah,
using them themselves, whereas we're pinching the clever aspects of social justice tactics, using them quite targetedly against social justice people.
yeah.
Yeah, they're gonna fuck up, aren't they? They're
It's
messing with black magic they don't understand.
yeah. They're like,
Mm.
oh, it worked for the progressives, extreme progressives. Let's copy them. It should work for us now. And
But it
it's
won't.
no,
Because it's not tailored for them, is it? It's
no.
tailored to hit them. How
The,
can you use magic that is specifically directed to destroy you?
yeah. I mean, it's hard to get empathy because I mean, conservatives in generally they're standing ground on an
Mm.
issue where progressives are trying to move forward and they use empathy on the poor victims, like they use, you
The
know.
conservatives, far right, the super Republicans, um, have let themselves down to a greater or a lesser degree. They are losing membership every day to a new weird coalition in the middle.
You
It's all
kind of
about
you kind
finding
of
a
need it.
name and focusing that. Yeah, it's all about finding a name and focusing that coalition in the middle to make a government and to make a direction for West Africa. We absolutely can, because these are driven, wonderful people of every shade and colour, full of diversity that really want to make the West work as a system and want to spread it as far as they can into the world, because it is a great stable political and social and economic system. And And all the time you've got these crazy, crazy leftists who just don't want it to work because it it doesn't pat them on the back enough. It's very, very odd. We should close this stream soon.
Yeah,
I'm
I think we're
running
going
out of stuff.
rants. I think, and I gotta go. I got stuff to do, Ian.
Me
I gotta use the bathroom. I've had like 5 beers. Um, this
Oh,
is what
yeah,
happens when we both drink. Next time
that's true.
I'll put a topics, and I'll give it to you ahead of time if you want
Yeah,
to try that doing that next time.
yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
yeah, that's what we'll try doing next time. So we don't go
I
because
know
we
she's
go on
got all
rants,
that
man.
anything
We go
else.
on rants, and we can just go.
You-
We can go down the rabbit hole. I'm just saying, you know, we go
Oh, I
deep.
beg your pardon. I don't go that way. Oh,
No, I didn't. Oh,
I'm not
God
going to
damn
do
it,
that
Ian.
on a live stream. You keep your rabbit hole away from me, sir.
Okay, I'm sorry, sir. Wherever.
Good grief.
We
Good
go
grief. I
we
didn't
go on
realize
and
this
on
was this
about. We
kind.
just go on our
Yes.
rants. All right. Yeah.
I would be happy to talk to you again, but I'm not engaging in anything like that.
I wasn't referring to
Oof.
that, Ian, but I don't
Oof.
know. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to trigger you. Oh gosh.
Well, wow. I don't know. Oh my God. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
You
You
must have
know.
lost thousands of users from comments like that. My
Oh
fans
yeah,
will be
horribly. Yeah,
uproarious.
that's why I'm so popular, and I have like maybe only like 20 followers. You
Yeah,
know,
this is
I
cheap
found that
clickbait tactics, my
yes,
friend.
that's
Yeah,
right. Jesus makes a move on Ian, and
yeah. He gotchas me right at the end of the interview. Just this
bye,
is the
Ian.
kind of crap I expect from Ralph.
Dude, I was saying rabbit hole doesn't mean anything sexual. All right, Ian. Take care, man.
Okay, buddy. It's been
Bye.
fucking amazing. I've really enjoyed talking to you
Same here. Bye.
tonight. Okay, buddy. See you later. Oh shit, I'm controlling it. Good night, everybody. Oh fuck, damn, turn off. Shit, when will this fucking light go off? I can see why fucking Ralph always swears off at the end of his videos. I'm gonna have to turn this whole fucking window on. Bollocks.